as we enter into one of the most holy and sacred weeks in the Christian calendar, what we now call Holy Week, we want to help you prepare your heart, your mind, and your soul for what is to come on Easter Sunday. Each day leading up to Easter, and on Easter Sunday, we are going to be following the traditional church Holy Week calendar and have a reading for each of the days. Today, we're going to be focusing on Black Saturday, or as some people call it, Holy Saturday. Yesterday was the worst day imaginable for the disciples. The man they followed for 3 years is now dead. The person who said that he was God in the flesh is dead. The person who healed the sick, made the lame walk, and made the dumb talk, and even made people come back to life, now himself is dead. Yesterday, a mother had to watch her son die a gruesome death. Mary, the one who was promised to carry the Messiah in her womb for 9 months, who gave birth to God in the flesh, raised him as a toddler and taught him how to walk and how to talk and even how to eat his veggies. She had to watch her son die the death of a murderer, a thief, and of a rebel leader. The woman who watched her son grow into a man and change lives forever is now sitting at home grieving the death of her son, the man called Jesus. Thousands of followers of Jesus, including men, women, and children who believed that he was going to defeat Rome, is now wondering, so who really was this man? You know, in the scriptures, we don't have much to read about the day in between Jesus' death and his resurrection, but there is something very unique, though, that did happen on this day. We'll start reading in Matthew 27, where Jesus was buried in the tomb, and read right up to right before Easter morning. Let's read Matthew chapter 27, and we'll pick up in verses 57 and finish through verse 66. It reads, "When it was evening, a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph came, who himself has also been a disciple of Jesus. He approached Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Then Pilate ordered that it be released. So Joseph took the body, wrapped it in a clean, fine linen, and placed it in his new tomb, which he had cut out of the rock. He left after rolling a great stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were seated there, facing the tomb. Now the next day, which, side note, this now is Saturday, so verse 62, the next day, which followed the preparation day, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate and said, 'Sir, we remember that while this deceiver was still alive, he said, after 3 days, I'll rise again. So give orders that the tomb may be secure until the third day. Otherwise, the disciples may come, steal him, and tell all the people that he had been raised from the dead. And the last deception will actually be worse than the first.' Pilate told them, 'Take guards and go and make sure that it is secured as you know how.' And they went out, secured the tomb by setting a seal on the stone and placing the guards." So I just want to make a few observations here real quick. On Friday, after Jesus died, he was buried and they put the stone in front of the tomb. On Saturday, the chief priests and the religious leaders had the Romans not just protect the tomb, but they had the tomb completely sealed off. Why? Because they understood that Jesus claimed that he would rise again from the dead after 3 days. You know, so many people today will say things like, Jesus actually didn't die on the cross, but rather someone who looked like Jesus actually died in his place. Which, fun fact, this is what the Quran states and the Quran teaches and what Muslims believe. Other people will say things like, Jesus actually didn't die on the cross, he simply passed out. So when it was time to raise again, he just woke up after getting his butt kicked. Some other people say Jesus did die, but somehow the disciples were able to overcome the Roman soldiers and steal the body and then just pretend that Jesus was raised again from the dead. But when we read in Matthew that the tomb was sealed and that it was protected by the greatest military in the world, Matthew is trying to tell us that Jesus really was dead and everybody knew it. That being said, let's jump back to today's focus real quick. In many traditions, Black Saturday is a time of preparation and reflection for what is to come tomorrow, preparing our hearts to remember that Jesus is about to rise again from the dead, because tomorrow is a joyous and joyful day. But today, I want us to sit in the despair with Mary. I want us to sit in the grief of the disciples, and I want us to sit in the confusion of all the followers of Jesus. And to help us do this, I want to close today's episode with a poem written by Cameron Bellum. On Saturday, it was silence in a sealed tomb. Jesus inside as if in a womb. His body swaddled in burial clothes, anointed with aloes and myrrh. It was a quiet, lonely garden, maybe not so different from the one on the other side of the temple, the one where Jesus prayed and sweat blood. It was the end, they all thought. Their hearts crushed, their minds reeling, thinking only one thought. How could this have happened? On Saturday, it was hopeless. But Sunday's coming.